So it's actually official. Dfinity just announced when they're going to be releasing multi-decks, at least in terms of the game mode. What is multi-decks and what is game mode? I'll explain that in today's video, even though nothing I say is financial advice and I'm not telling anyone to do anything. So just to give a quick recap, multi-decks is Dfinity's upcoming decks. That's their sort of answer towards competing against something like Pancake or Uni. It's basically a DEX, right? An exchange that is hypothetically decentralized. Now, if we take a look at, let's say in the case of multi-DEX, they're planning to release the game mode later on this week, which means that it's basically the testing mode. So people can kind of test it out, but it's not the full-on launch yet. But the reason why this could be massive is because this is yet another upcoming flagship product for Dfinity. We already see something like Caffeine AI, we already see something like OIC, we already see something like Cloud Engines, and now we're seeing something like multi-dex. So this is pretty impressive. Now people like to say, but this is not going to compete with Pancake or Uni. Well, I think it is. And if they don't try, how would they know? So when people like to say, well, there's already Pancake, there's already Uni, this doesn't need to exist. But why not though? If they don't try, how would they know? And again, we see a lot of projects out there, they attempt to create a DEX, but sometimes they don't really follow through with it. But judging based off the track record and history of the internet computer, and also I take a look at Dfinity, Dfinity doesn't tend to ignore the things that they launch. They don't tend to neglect whatever they launch, right? If they launch a product, they usually care about it. Case in point, take a look at Caffeine AI version 3. There's already a third version when it comes to that. And if we take a look at multi-decks, I don't see why they wouldn't put the same effort, if not more. So I don't think it's a waste. I don't think it's a flop. I mean, we don't even really know as of right now. But again, for the people out there that already kind of deem this to be a flop, I think it's a little bit too early. And again, based off the track record and history of the internet computer and also Dfinity, it just doesn't seem like it's something that's going to be ignored like that. They typically don't do things just for hyper attention. They usually do it because they have a serious intent. Now, people like to say, well, if they launch multi-decks, at least in terms of the game mode, when is the official full-on launch? We don't know as of right now, but at least we're beginning to see some progress because when it comes to the game mode, basically the testing mode, I would arguably like to say, what that does is that it gives this opportunity for developers, for just users overall to kind of test it out and to give feedback to Dfinity before they actually do the full official launch, because this type of stuff is crucial. They need to do this testing. They need to do this, in my opinion. And again, I think it's a pretty awesome victory considering how the market isn't doing the best. Just as everyone thought that, oh, you know, DEX, it's kind of useless and all this, Dfinity, they're like, wait, hold up. We have our own answer when it comes to that. They took quite a while, but hey, you know what? If it's coming soon, I'm not going to complain about that. Now, some people may be wondering, okay, they thought about this probably for months. And why is the name Multidex? They think that it's kind of not such an interesting name when it comes to this. But I kind of disagree with that because there is kind of a hidden meaning behind this, in my opinion at least. Because if we take a look at Multidex, it's supposedly multi-chain, so multiple chains, right? So it makes sense why it's called multi-dex. It's literally in the name, so if people take a look at it or if they read it, they can say to themselves, oh wow, you know, maybe it's something that's multi-chain, which it is. So it kind of makes sense. Now, if we take a look at it as well, it kind of makes sense why they chose this name. It's a little bit more practical. I get it, it may not be the coolest thing out there, but at least it kind of gives, I guess, an explanation as to what it does, right? It's literally a DEX that is multi-chain. So multi-DEX, I think it's an appropriate sort of name when it comes to one of their key products. Now, also on top of that, if we take a look at multi-DEX, supposedly it runs on an internet computer cloud engine. So that's pretty impressive, in my opinion. Now, if we take a look at it as well, something that I find pretty impressive when it comes to this is that multi-DEX runs on the internet computer network. So in theory, that's going to give the internet computer more of a use case. It's going to give it more activity. And also it's going to give it more traffic, in which case I think is a good thing because now we're beginning to see a better utilization of the internet computer. Case in point, take a look at multi-DEX. Now, it's upcoming, right? We don't really have the full-on launch, at least yet, but at least we take a look at the concept, it's there, which is more than can be said for a bunch of other projects out there, which are literally, for a lot of them, not really doing anything. At least Dfinity is trying. At least they're doing things, so I can't fault them for trying. This is the common dilemma, right? If Dfinity doesn't try, people say they're lazy, but if they try, sometimes they like to say, oh, the product isn't even that good. So what is it? I'd rather at least have them try. Other projects out there, they don't do anything. I don't know why sometimes that's praised. Kind of makes no sense to me, but at least I'm seeing something when it comes to Dfinity. At least they're trying. Now, if I take a look at it, is the internet computer still at around $2.20? Yes, it is. I mean, it's still not doing good, but also at the same time, though, we have to consider what's in the pipeline for Dfinity. They're planning the full-on launch of cloud engines. We've already seen the demonstration, I should say, but we haven't really seen the full-on launch yet. So that's upcoming. We're taking a look at multi-decks, which I mentioned before. And if we think about it, there's already Caffeine AI version 3, there's already OEC version 2. Who knows if they're planning for more versions moving forward, but I'm just saying, they're at least still working on things, which I won't complain about. And again, if anything, the internet computer being at around $2.20, it's not really something I want to complain about anyways. I mean, this is a project we're talking about here that back in November of last year was at around $9. We're 4 times lower than that, approximately. If it could just go back there, I mean, it wouldn't be too amazing, some people would like to say, but it already feels like an altcoin season to me. I know it wouldn't be, but it would feel like one. November of 2025 was not a good time when it comes to altcoins, generally speaking. And yet still, we're over 4 times lower than that, or approximately 4 times lower than that, I should say. That's a little bit ridiculous, but I don't mean it in a bad way because I don't mind when things are low. Low prices, it's my friend, I feel like, because I don't mind the quote-unquote hypothetical dip. That's the thing. And again, if this could just go back to November of 2025, I have 0 complaints. So as of right now, I'm looking forward to multi-decks, but we'll wait and see. But nonetheless, the fact that they're planning to release the testing mode, so to speak, next week, I'm so surprised at this. I mean, they're moving at quite a fast pace, but hey, you know what? I didn't expect anything less anyways when it comes to Dfinity. They usually do things pretty quickly. So I do like seeing this. And again, of course, I'll be making an updated video when it comes to that, my reaction to when they actually do release it, and also when they actually plan to release the testing mode, so to speak. I'm going to be making a reaction video when it comes to that as well. So hopefully y'all stay tuned for that. However, I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a very amazing day. It's Malay the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.